The ballroom sparkled with gold chandeliers casting sharp light on faces flush with power and arrogance. In the center, a towering figure laughed loudly, his voice slicing through the chatter like a knife. "You expect me to take him seriously?" The millionaire sneered, eyes fixed on the young African leader across the room. "Ibrahim Traoré, please, what could he possibly teach us?" The room hushed for a heartbeat. Then, the impossible happened. Right there, in front of the world. Introduction. Setup. The grand hall of a Washington, D.C. hotel glittered with opulence, every inch polished to a mirror sheen. Crystal glasses clinked, the murmur of deals and whispered promises weaving through the air like smoke. It was a gathering of America's elite, billionaires and politicians basking in their own reflected glory. Ibrahim Traoré stood at the edge, his presence quiet but unshakable. Clad in a crisp, tailored suit that somehow seemed to both fit and defy the spectacle around him, his eyes told stories far deeper than any riches could buy. His dark skin contrasted sharply against the sea of white collars and silk ties, and, for a moment, he looked like a single black stone dropped into a swirling river of gold. Yet despite the glitz, there was something raw and alive about him, a leader born from struggle, from the dust of Burkina Faso's unforgiving Sahel, from nights spent awake under the scorched African stars. His hands, though steady now, had once held a rifle against terror, and later the hands of a grieving mother desperate for peace. Tonight, Traoré was a man on a mission far greater than this hall's shallow luxuries. He had come to speak, to challenge, to offer a vision that stretched beyond borders, beyond power, beyond fear. Across the room, the millionaire, Robert Langston, a titan of industry and fierce supporter of Donald Trump, sipped his whiskey with the air of a man who owned the world. His sharp eyes found Traoré's calm figure and smirked. "Who does this boy think he is?" Langston muttered to a companion, loud enough for the circle nearby to hear. "Africa is a continent of chaos. This kid's nothing but a headline, waiting to collapse." His words hung like poison, carried by a wave of laughter that rippled through the wealthy crowd. Cameras flashed, catching every moment for the social feeds and business networks that thrived on scandal and spectacle. Emotional. Depth and symbolism. Ibrahim's gaze did not waver. The memory of his village flashed through his mind, a place where the earth was cracked and dry, where hope was measured in the survival of the next harvest, where children played beneath thorny trees while distant gunfire echoed. He thought of the cracked watch his grandfather gave him, the hands frozen at the moment peace was shattered. That watch was a symbol of frozen time, of lives paused by conflict and betrayal. But he was here to prove time could be rewound, that futures could be rewritten. Conflict or challenge introduced. Robert Langston took a step forward, towering over Traoré with the confidence of money and history on his side. "You know," Langston said, voice dripping with condescension, "I've met presidents, generals, kings even, but you're just a boy with a rifle and some wild dreams. Tell me, what could you possibly bring to this table?" The room tensed. The polite smiles froze and even the servers paused mid-step. Ibrahim's mouth pressed into a firm line. Then in a voice as calm as the wind before the storm, he answered, "I bring the voice of those who have been silenced by the world's indifference." Langston laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "Silenced? You want to talk about silence? Tell me about the silence when bombs fall, when gold is stolen, when aid is tied with strings that choke the very people it's supposed to help. I've seen that silence," Traoré said, "and I will not let it continue." The millionaire scoffed and the crowd murmured in nervous amusement. But what happened next would break the night and break every expectation. Midpoint revelation. Or twist. Suddenly, a large screen behind the stage flickered to life. Images flooded the room. Videos from the heart of Burkina Faso. Villages rebuilt, schools opened, families reunited. Footage of children smiling where once only fear reigned. Interviews with villagers, their voices trembling with gratitude and hope. The voice of Traoré narrated over the images, calm yet fierce. In a land forgotten by many, we have built from ashes, not with the help of billionaires, but with our own hands, our own courage. Where there was chaos, we planted peace. The room grew silent as the evidence played, washing over the smug faces like a cleansing rain. Langston's smirk faltered. The people in the videos were not distant statistics, they were real, alive, triumphant. Climax, emotional breakthrough. Stepping forward, Traoré's voice rose, filled with an unshakable strength. This is not a story of charity or pity. This is a story of resilience, of dignity, of a people refusing to be defined by others' doubts. Langston's face reddened with anger, but the crowd shifted. The tide had turned. Conversations buzzed. Whispers grew into questions. Could this young man truly hold the answers they had long ignored? A woman in the crowd, a skeptic doctor from a humanitarian organization, wiped tears from her eyes. Maybe, she whispered, we have been wrong. Resolution and quiet closure. The evening wound down, but the change was palpable. Langston left the hall abruptly, his empire of words crumbling beneath the weight of truth. Ibrahim Traoré stood alone by the window, gazing out at the city's lights, each one a spark of hope. He touched the pocket where the broken watch still rested, a reminder of the past, but now, time was moving forward. A young journalist approached, her voice soft. Mr. Traoré, what now? He smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the first light of dawn. Now, he said, we build the future. Call to action. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing for more inspiring tales of hope, healing, and unexpected kindness. Hit the like button and share this with someone who needs it today.